Hi, hello, welcome to 2026. We're here. We made it, folks. We made it. The start of 2026 has been not my favorite, okay? It's not been the greatest first, 11 days of the year. At least not in my opinion. I'm sure thoughts on that might vary, but in general, this has been just such a weird time. The holidays, as I said in my last video, I was trying to enjoy what I could from the holidays. I was trying to make the holidays my own so that I could genuinely align myself with the things about the holidays that I truly value and that make me happy and bring me joy. And New Year's, for me, sometimes is a very motivating time of the year. Other times, I just am not in the right place or the right frame of mind to get that, dopamine hit of new year, new me, starting over, making resolutions and really sticking to, some goals and getting excited and energized to create a lot of things and do a lot of stuff in life. This year was not one of those years, to say the truth, to start off with. And I have one thing to blame for that. Well, several things to blame for that. But I want to be completely honest. Stranger Things kind of ruined my Christmas and the week between Christmas and New Year's. And then it ruined my New Year's again. So, I can't please everybody, but especially did not please me. Sorry if you loved everything about Stranger Things Volume 2 and the finale that aired on New Year's. I was not a huge fan of almost anything that happened. So as a Stranger Things fan since season 1, that was pretty tough. But I am focusing on the things that I loved about it as the series as a whole, and that is getting me through this particularly rough time as a Byler. I'm gonna out myself right now as a Byler. And I didn't realize that I was a Byler until I didn't know that the fandom existed, that there was a Mike and Will, ship fandom thing, that it was like in the zeitgeist and there was a lot of people talking about it. And until I watched season 4, and halfway through season 4, I was like, oh my God, they're setting up a romantic arc between these two characters, like, obviously. And then I went to the internet after season 4, and I was like on Tumblr, which is something that I do sometimes because I am a fangirl. I like when I'm in a fandom, that's how I engage with a fandom that I'm into, because I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm a nerd. And so on Tumblr, when I went after season 4 to start looking at Stranger Things stuff, I then was introduced to the Byler fandom. And so as a Byler, it just has not been a great time for me and us in general. So why am I telling you all of this insider information about Stranger Things and my new year? It's because I didn't have a great new year and I didn't have a great start to 2026. But I am someone who is an eternal optimist. And so I think that we can turn this around, and I have a plan to turn it around. And if you are in a similar boat where you have been struggling, maybe just hasn't been the right mindset or the right time for you to get excited about things like goal setting and organizing and motivating work and getting excited for things in life, then perhaps we can get through it together, okay? So tonight I have made a fire in my little fireplace right here, which is something that brings me joy. I had this fireplace fixed up because when I moved into this house, it didn't even work. So now I have a working fireplace, and that is a great thing. It makes me happy. So we've got a fire, and we're gonna sit and have a little chit chat about what's going on right now with my approach to starting 2026 and my goals for the year. Because even if this isn't a time of year when you are feeling the drive. Winter sometimes can be such a introspective, quiet time that doesn't always feel like, we're getting smoked out here. It doesn't always feel like the time of year when you want to get started and motivated to do new things. The traditional New Year's in early spring, I think, is a lot better for that. But you know what? There's this thing, I'm forgetting what it's called. It's like the fresh start effect or something like that, where there are these natural milestones in life that we can use to propel us forward and give us energy and motivation to actually take action and do things on that day or in that time. And these happen at, there's like societally agreed upon times when it happens. Things like New Year's Day in the Gregorian calendar, or if you are into the solstices are a great day for that. At the first day of the month is a great day for planning your month out, right? The first day of the week, Monday, is a day when a lot of people sit down and plan out their week. If it's your birthday, you might sit and reflect and, think about the year that you just had and the year to come and what you want to make of it. We have these very natural kind of set points that are really good for helping us motivate change in our life, because let's face it, it ain't always easy to change. You can have the desire to change, you can feel like you need to change, but actually taking the action and finding the motivation to get past that first step can be extremely difficult. With ADHD, for me, a lot of it is about friction and resistance to getting the momentum going on something that we want to do. And that's a big roadblock for a lot of ADHDers and people who have this, problem with dopamine regulation. We don't always have the right type of energy and natural motivation to just wake up any day of the week and say, I'm going to do this, 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 and this, and then just go do it. It's quite different. As a human design projector, it's also different for me because I don't have as much natural energy. I have limited reserves. And a lot of my best work is done within maybe 3 hours of the day. And then the rest of the day, I'm kind of useless. No, I'm not completely useless, but my motivation and energy to actually take action and do things is greatly reduced throughout the rest of the day. So I have to sort of strategize and plan around that. So what I think we should do is put ourselves in a place where we can find some naturally occurring motivation to do some things and then take advantage of that. So for me, I had a Celsius this afternoon, not too long ago, to give me a little bit more energy for this evening. I got off my butt this morning. It's a Sunday, and I did a couple things around the house that I had been meaning to do. I sent a Snapchat to my best friend, and I told her what I was going to do today as like motivation to help me do it, because now I had accountability. So, if you have strategies or things like this that you can think of that might help you get started and gain a little bit of momentum to take action on things, then think about what that might look like for you. It's smoky. It's so smoky. I made a list of goals for 2026 the other day when I was having a think about what I wanted my year to look like. Every New Year's for the last 4-ish years, I think, I have a process that I go through. And I didn't do it on New Year's this year. I did it a couple days after. Doesn't really matter. I have a Notion template that I created that has a process that I go through. And it includes one, reflecting on the year that just passed. And so I'll sit down and go through the template and fill in all of the prompts. There's a bunch of prompts that help you reflect on the things you did in the last year, the great things that happened, your favorite things, your favorite books, your favorite movies, your favorite moments, media that mattered to you, wins, that type of thing. And then there's a place where you can go through, like, what were some projects you were working on this year and how did that go? Like, what accomplishments did you make in those areas? And then, of course, there's also a place to, reflect on things that didn't go the way you planned and things that were challenges for you, things that came up that really got in the way of making the progress that you were hoping to, and why that happened. So I go through the reflection area, and then I have another page for intention setting. And that is where I map out my intentions for the coming year. I reevaluate my values, and I map out some goals that are related to making progress in my life in areas that I want to expand into that are in alignment with my values. And that's always really helpful to just recommit myself to those things. And then I, talk about some things I want to do and places I want to go, and any type of specific goals that I have or metrics that I have for how I want to progress in different areas of my life. And then I have a vision board area where we kind of do we write out a vision board for 7 different areas of your life, things like your finances, your home life, your love life, your friends and family, personal development, things like that, spirituality, or whatever is important to you. And you can map out your specific goals and intentions for those different areas of your life. And then, highlight some things that you want to use when creating something like a vision board for yourself. So I've gone through that process. That in itself, just having an evening where I sat down, got myself some snacks and a glass of Sauvignon Blanc, and went through that thing, having that done now has filled me with enough motivation to get started on actually figuring out how to make those things happen and address those goals. So here we go, goal setting. Now that we're here, let's take a look at some of the things that I'm going to be working on this year. And by the way, my Notion template that I was just talking about, I will link below. I created this several years ago. I have it linked on my website that you can get the Notion template to duplicate for yourself. You can have a free Notion account. And if you have a free Notion account, then you can duplicate the entire template into your Notion account so that you can do it as well. So let's pull up here the goals that I set for myself this year. Now, these are more like tangible goals rather than higher ideals and things like that, of things that I want to try and embody, ways that I want to use my energy. There's, sort of differences in how you think about more about how you exist versus what you are going to do. So this is much more relevant in terms of actually taking action on things, which is my New Year's resolution. I want to take action on things this year. This last year that went by, 2025, I did some things that I'm proud of. I did, I'm always working toward certain goals and projects and things that I want to create and accomplish. But 2025 was difficult. I would say if I look back, 2025 was probably the worst year that I've had since maybe 2017 was a pretty tough year. 2025 was not great for me, to be honest. And so I don't want to repeat that pattern in 2026. Yes, we are living in crazy times. Yes, there are things that make it difficult on a daily basis sometimes for me to get out of my head and get in a place where I feel mentally able to focus on what I want to do and to take action towards certain goals. But we can only do the best that we can do in that moment, right? Some days I'm not going to be doing much. Some days I might wake up and feel really good and take advantage of that day and get a lot done. I just don't want to have the same regret at the end of 2026 that I had at the end of 2025, which is that I could see very clearly a vision of where I wanted to be, and I knew certain things that I needed to start doing and changes that I needed to start making in order to get there. And I consistently woke up and just didn't do them. over and over again. Some days I did. Some days I did a modified, version of that. But a lot of days I just didn't do it. I took the very easy and very comfortable path of staying kind of complacent with how my life was and just doing the bare minimum to get by. And sometimes that's all you can do, and that's okay. But I feel like there are things that I can do and things that I can put in place, even with things being the way that they are right now, and that being difficult, to help me help myself get to where I want to be and to have more better days than I did in this last year. So a lot of that comes down in the end to self-concept. Like, I know myself very well. I know who I am, and I'm very confident in my identity. I'm comfortable with myself, and I like myself. But my self-concept has gotten quite a bit muddled in the last year or so. And so I want to really focus on not just actions that I think will get me closer to my goal, but more systemic changes that are going to facilitate and support me becoming the person that I want to be and the person that I know that I am, when I am in my flow state and when I'm in my zone of genius and when I'm really shining. I know that person. But there has to be some infrastructural changes to the way I live my life in order to make that happen, So that's kind of how I'm looking at approaching my goals. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 main goals for things that have metrics that I can do to start making more changes in my life. And for each of these, I'm going to sit down and go through a 12-week year template on Notion again. This is one that I copied from someone else. And I'm going to map out actionable steps and weekly and monthly goals to help me in each of these areas. So that's kind of, if you're following along, my pathway, my formula is do the reflection and intention setting, create the vision, align your vision to your self-concept, and then make some tangible goals, break them down into some sort of organized goal setting method or plan that will help you accomplish them. Listen, as an ADHDer, goal setting and creating plans and following through on those plans is tough. But again, it comes down to the support system that you create for yourself. And so I'm really trying to focus on that support system for myself right now. And I'm really hoping that I can make some mindset shifts and some real changes to the way I am approaching my daily life that will make it much easier for me to attain my goals and keep consistent with the actions that I need to take in order to make progress on my goals. So let's take a super quick look. I'll let you guys know what's on my docket for the year. Number 1, revise my style. I have kind of gotten lost in the sauce when it comes to my style. I'm a very eclectic person. If you watched my video about dressing like my rising sign, which is a Scorpio rising, you probably saw a little bit about my approach to that. But I have a very eclectic style, and I my identity is such that every day I can wake up and feel like a different part of myself wants to be expressed, and I can do that through fashion and the way I do my hair and my look and everything like that. And because I'm a complex, multi-passionate, eclectic type of person, I could feel like looking completely different any day of the week in order to accomplish that. But I do have this type of aesthetic that I am just obsessed with. It's this very cottagecore / light academia look. And there are days when I wake up and I want to be like a 90s grunge kid again. And then but when I make my I'm Pinterest making my, style inspiration boards and stuff like that, I always gravitate toward this one style. And so I would like to curate a little bit more of my wardrobe and my looks to this specific vibe, because that is something that I think is going to motivate me to work a lot better. TBH, I have been spending a lot of days wearing sweatpants and not doing anything to myself. And whereas I don't think that there's anything anyone should be ashamed of about like wearing sweatpants or leggings all day, walking around in sweatshirts and sweatpants, like we all gotta live, right? And why not be comfy? But there's also, my self-concept and the version of myself that is like in my office, working my business, being a writer, being a professional. I don't physically feel like I can be that person when I'm wearing sweatpants and I look like someone who does not care. That's just tough for me. So I have been doing this last week. I worked in my office actually like 3 days in a row. I had a really good week in there. And every day that I did it, I got dressed. I put clothes on. Now, I'm not the most stylish person in the world. Surprise, surprise. I don't know. I'm not a style girly. It's just never been something I'm super interested in. But, I have my own ideas of what looks good on me and what I like to wear. And so I kind of worked with that and came up with a couple cute-ish outfits. But I would really like to get some new pieces and curate a more specific look. It's tough for me in the winter because I'm also a cold girl. So I don't want to put on clothes that aren't warm. I'm not going to do a lot of shopping, like fast fashion shopping. I'm going to be relying mainly on thrift to do this because I'm just done with consumerism in a lot of ways. And I would really rather support local thrift shops and buy secondhand. There's actually a thrift shop 5 minutes away from my house, and they fund a women's center for survivors of domestic abuse. And so I try to do almost all of my thrift shopping and my shopping for clothes these days up there. So revising my style, it's going to take a little while because I don't have the budget to just go out and buy a new wardrobe. I'm going to try and go through my closet and find the numbers and the pieces and the looks that I think I can create out of the stuff I already own first and have some fun with that. And I'm excited for that process. And then we'll see about bringing in some new pieces. But I want to be able to wake up in the morning, have a little time, go on a walk, drink some tea, plan my day, and then get dressed. Get myself put together into the version of me who can sit in my office and be a professional, work in my business, and feel good about it, and feel like the self-concept that I see in my head for Jenny, the version of me who is a successful person doing what I want to do, she looks a certain way, and I'm going to try and, help myself as best I can to match that vision. So, number 2, meal plan and cook more. Guys, had I had a horrible 2025 when it came to my health and cooking and food. I think there was part of me in 2025 that was really checked out of a lot of things. And for sure, cooking and eating well was one of them. I took the easy route a lot of the time. I didn't put much thought or forethought into meal prep or planning or cooking. I did a lot of very last minute meals. And it's something that I actually feel really bad about because, cooking for my son and I try, and like in my brain and my head, I have so many ideas for wonderful, healthy, whole foods recipes that I can make to make sure that my son is eating healthy and growing, and that I'm supporting his cognitive development, and that he's trying new things and learning, and then I just don't do it. Like, I'm not a bad mom, but I made a lot of mac and cheese this year, okay? For me too. afternoons when I didn't feel like cooking anything for myself to eat, I can't tell you how many boxes of mac and cheese I just ate. I don't want to live like this. So I'm going to try to block time in my schedule every week for meal planning and prep. I have gone through phases in my life when I have meal planned like a boss, and I have done meal prep stuff, and I have had a rotating menu of really nice meals. A lot of that was back in the days when I was married and I was cooking for my spouse every day pretty much. And when I first had my son and I had a little bit more time for home life and homekeeping and housekeeping and things like that. And so that was something that I took, as part of my job, I guess. And so I did have a better relationship with cooking and eating then. Since my divorce, I felt like I was so burnt out on being a homemaker. And because I was also working full time and doing all of that. And I just got so burnt out, to be honest, TBH. Yeah, I got so burnt out. I didn't want to cook again. And it's taken me a while to get over that mentally, to be in a place where I feel excited and motivated to start meal planning and prepping and cooking again. But I honestly, I can't not do it anymore. I feel too bad about myself. Not physically or anything like that. I just feel like I know what I want. I want to be healthy. I want to be cooking healthy meals. I want to be setting a good example for my son. And I need to hold myself to a higher standard when it comes to that. Not every single day, So my plan right now is to cook 2 to 3 meals a week. I think I can handle 2 to 3 meals a week. Right now, maybe 1 to 2 meals a week is what I'm doing. And they're not like the most inspired meals. I try, but I made a pot pie the other day and I was proud of my pot pie, but Riker hated it. So we have some thinking to do here. I plan on utilizing Pinterest. I have some YouTube channels that I watch specifically. And then I'm also, here, I'll get it for you right now. You can see it. My mom gave me this. I think it was right after I got married and I moved into my first house with my ex-husband. My mom put together this cookbook. It's full of recipes that my mom hand wrote on recipe cards and compiled in different sections of this book. And it's got so many recipes that I have made repeatedly in my life. Comfort recipes, recipes I grew up on, recipes that I've added in the years since that I really loved. A lot of my rotation of meals that I used to cook is in this book. So when I don't know what to cook, I'm going to take this out. When I'm planning for my week, I'm going to take this out. And I would love to get more excited about revisiting a lot of these recipes and then adding some new fun ones in there as well. So I'm going to try and block myself time on Mondays or Sundays to give me a little bit more of that motivation from, that natural end and start point of a week to get my meal planning done. And then hold myself accountable and try and do a little bit more prep to make sure that I have a meal planned for a day and then do what needs to be done to prep the meal as early as needed. Because my brain doesn't remember that cooking exists until about 5 o'clock p.m. That's usually how it works. So if I don't have anything physically, visually reminding me that I have to plan to cook a meal after 5 p.m., I will not think about it the entire day. I will not have a plan, and that usually doesn't work out very well. So I have a thing for my refrigerator where I'm going to be putting my meal plan every week, so it's physically in front of me a lot, several times a day. And I'm hoping that that can really help spur my brain to actually be like, oh, I do have to take the ground beef out of the freezer or whatever I need to do to prep that. So cooking, we can do that. We can do that. We are a 44-year-old woman who has been cooking for the last almost 25 years since I left home for college. So I feel like we can find the spark again. We can. I actually like food, believe it or not. I do. Sometimes. Okay, number 3, write like it's a job. Yes, this is a big one. So this is my main goal this year for my career. I love to write. I love it so dang much. And I often treat writing as it's kind of like a little treat that I give myself sometimes. But I don't treat writing like a job. It's a side project, it's a every now and then, once in a while, when I have the energy at the end of the day, I'll let myself write something. And because it makes me so happy and I enjoy the process so much. I don't know why I deny myself writing all the time, but it's because I stay so focused in my brain on activities that I know are going to bring income into my house as a single one-income family home. Just me and my son. I unfortunately can't not think about that. So if it doesn't immediately result in income, it's really tough for me to do something like make the decision to devote a large chunk of my day to that thing, And I think now I'm just at a place in life where I know that I'm meant to continue writing as part of my career. It's part of who I am at this point. I mean, I write in a lot of different areas. I write when I'm preparing YouTube scripts. Sometimes I finished a novel last year, and I have several others that I'm working on. So I write books. I started a Substack in September, and I have been writing consistently on Substack, which I am loving, which is why I am ready, and I think I need to take writing seriously. And so I'm going to write like it's my job. I'm going to schedule myself writing time in my office during the week like it's part of my job. And yes, it's going to be one of these things where I have to readjust the way I approach my day in order to make that a part of my life, because it's going to be just a little bit different than how I've been living, But there are things that I can do with the infrastructure of my life to help support that. So I can get up earlier so that I can get in the things that I do as part of my morning, walking my dog, drinking my tea, planning my day, and then block scheduling is something that I do like, and that does help me. So when I can stick with it, that is always very motivating for me. So blocking out time for my day job, and then blocking a certain time of the day for writing in my office. And if I can do that and stick with it, I just know that by the end of this year, I will have created some incredible things. I will have continued to expand everything that I'm doing here on YouTube. I will have more content for YouTube. I will have stayed consistent on my Substack, which I'm very proud of, and I'm so excited about where it's going and the potential there. And I hopefully will have edited my book and continued making progress on the other books that I'm working on, because one day if I could quit my job one day to be a writer, that would be everything, That would mean everything to me. So that's why I need to take writing seriously, and I need to write like it's my job this year. So that is a huge goal of mine, and we're gonna give it our best shot. And I've done a couple of things this week to help me motivation-wise to get in my office and write and work. Some of that is things like putting on a cute outfit, making myself feel like, in that writer mindset, like I'm going to sit down and do writing, like taking it seriously. Things like I don't like always working in my office because, I don't know. I just have like a thing sometimes about sitting in my office to work. But if I make myself like a nice drink in the afternoon, because I like to write around 2-3 p.m., if I make myself like a treat, like a drink treat, like I have a chai latte mix that I'm enjoying lately. So I'll make myself a chai latte. I will go in there and start my heater so it's warm. I will put on a candle. I will put on ambiance, or like I will put on my writing gloves. You know, like I am really, really working to get myself in the right space to write and to feel like everything I'm doing is like supporting that. And like it's great when everything works and everything clicks. I feel like writing comes so much easier, and I'm not fighting against as much, and I feel like I'm supposed to be in there writing, and like that's what it's supposed to feel like, right? So yeah, we're gonna try and trick ourselves into forming this habit. And I think I can do it. I do. Next is my morning routine and rising at 7 a.m. Now, I'm not a super morning girly. I've tried waking up at 5. I've tried those things. Does it? I can't. I just can't. I'm also like, I have some like delayed sleep syndrome issues that are ADHD related. I have like demand avoidance at bedtime. I am a bedtime procrastinator. So, you know, like I stay up later than I would like to most nights. And I just know realistically for me, with having like when I have my son, he doesn't go to bed till about 9 p.m. Like I just know that I need time after that for me to read and wind down and spend a little bit of time before I go to sleep. So like I'm just never going to be an in bed by 9 person, at least not at this phase in my life. So with that in mind, I usually wake up between 7:30 and 8:30. 7:30 on school days for my son because I have to. But otherwise, I'll sleep till between 7:30 and 8:30 normally. And I'm going to push it back, babe. I can do that. I can make sure that I am in bed a little bit earlier so that I can be up by 7, right? If I'm up by 7, I just thinking through my morning, that gives me more time to have a real morning routine that I can stick to. And that is something that I have wanted to get better at for years. And 2026 is the year that I'm actually going to do it, I promise. There's not much else to say about that. I have written out and sort of thought in depth about the type of morning routine that I need that will work best for me. And I've written out I made kind of like a menu of like a selection of activities for my morning that would ideally be in my morning routine that I can like sort of pick and choose from depending on what I think I need that day and what mood I'm in, stuff like that. But you know, it's like a lot of like I always get up and walk first thing. I get outside, I walk my dog in the park, and then when I come back, I make tea. And then after that, you know, we've got some nervous system regulation stuff. We've got journaling. We've got options for, you know, EFT tapping and yoga or qigong or something to help me like really align myself energetically and in my body. And and then we've got also some self-care stuff like doing like a serum and some red light on my face or gua sha or something like that. So I've got like this cute little menu that I created. And if I'm up a little bit earlier, I should have time to get through a couple things on that, you know, menu so that I feel like I've had a real morning before I jump into work. Jumping into work too early when I haven't had time to really do any type of time with myself to work on, you know, my energy or my nervous system or my body or like think, you know, my morning pages or anything like that. It's just not, it's just never the way that I want to start my day. Like I miss it when I don't do those type of things, and I see how it affects the way that I go through the rest of my day. And so I'm just going to create a little bit more support for myself by waking up earlier to help facilitate that, because it is important to me, and that is a change that I really want to stay consistent with. Make 2 YouTube videos a month. You know what? I'm pretty good about that. Like, I don't always get 2 videos out a month, but a lot of months I do. YouTube for me, like, I love making YouTube videos, but it can be a time-consuming process, especially if I'm vlogging or editing together something with a lot of footage. And it can just take me a while to like gather the footage that I need to figure out in my head what I want to say. And so like there's a process that I go through of, brainstorming ideas, working through what the messaging and the things that I want to talk about and the things about my life that I want to share with people. And then actually plotting that out into a video structure. It takes a little while. So, that's something that I would like to be more consistent with. And again, similar to writing, I would like to schedule time in my office to work on YouTube video development every week. And I've been doing a monthly content schedule, and that's been really helpful. So I have goals and touchstones throughout the month to help me keep on track with the schedule. Not always perfect, but again, we are trying to be a little bit more reliable in 2026 here. So that's a big one for me. Next is weekly home routine. This is something that does not exist right now. Yeah, I don't have any type of home routine. I would love to say that I do, but that would just be a lie. It's all random. It's all completely random right now. I just think I can do better, Again, I'm going to take advantage of that weekly reset point on Sundays and Mondays to work in some weekly routines around home care, cleaning, prepping, taking care of things like that. Yeah, that one's pretty self-explanatory. I just need a system. I need something so that I actually do things to maintain my house, because right now it's very random and sporadic. And so my ADHD just really is not great at keeping up with these type of things. So I've got an ADHD planner for this that I'm going to be hopefully utilizing to help me keep on track. And I'll let you guys know how that goes. Yeah, hopefully it's helpful. Dance workouts. Now, this is a fun one. You guys know, if you've watched me a little bit, I love dancing. I dance in a lot of my videos because sometimes I'm just feeling it. And when I'm feeling in the mood, I'll turn on some music and I will dance around in my living room. And like that's more just like self-expression. But I would really like to be more intentional about how I move my body and taking care of myself physically. So I would like to introduce 2 weekly workout sessions-ish. And one of them I would like to be dance. I don't know if you guys are on TikTok, but if you have seen these videos, a lot of them they do in studios with the high heel dancer girls. These are just like, and not always girls, but like incredible dancers who wear high heels, and they do, a lot of the time it's like a little bit sexy the way that they dance. But this is also be like like when Lady Gaga's Abracadabra came out, there was a whole dance craze to Abracadabra, and you saw all these videos of people doing Abracadabra. And like I want to do that. I want to do those type of dances. They're fun. They're quick. They get you moving. And when you, like, I've been in and out of dance since I was like 5 years old. So like I'm a dancer-ish. But like when you master something like a dance and you are really allowing yourself to not even worry about the steps at a certain point because you know them so well, that's when you can really emote and express through your body and get into it to the point where performing starts to feel so joyous and empowering, and you can allow the things in the music to come through you. Like if it's a sexy song, you can really lean into your sexy side and you can feel freaking sexy when you're doing it. I've had a couple of moments on stage in the last couple of years where I've had these type of experiences happen, and I'm just like, it just makes you feel friggin' good. And I have them on stage sometimes when I'm performing, and I want more of that in my regular life too. So, dance workouts. There are tons of people online, on YouTube, TikTok, websites. Like I can find amazing people who teach dance workouts. who teach dance choreography. It doesn't even necessarily need to be a workout like Zumba or something. It can be learning choreography for a dance. And I do that for an hour, and that is my workout. Yeah, I'm so jazzed about this. So I'm going to go into my basement twice a week and work on this. Maybe I'll learn something and show you guys. We'll see. Also, I'm in my early 40s, and I know I'm supposed to be weightlifting. I don't really work out at all right now, so we'll see. I might try and make one of those a more traditional workout. I have a kickboxing bag. I really like kickboxing. I did it for a while consistently, and I really enjoyed that style of workout. So I might try and do a dance workout and like a kickboxing and lifting workout maybe once a week as well. So again, I'm going to be scheduling those, and I'm also going to take advantage of my best friend again to keep me accountable and to be like telling her on the days that I'm going to be working out that I'm going to do it beforehand, so that she can check in with me afterwards to make sure that I did it. I just need that. That really helps motivate me. So reading every day. This one's pretty straightforward. I'm just going to read every day. I would love to read a personal development book and a fun fiction book every day. I would like to make time in the morning as part of my morning routine for reading personal development. And then in my night routine before bed, I almost always like to read a little bit of a fiction book. And so I want to stay consistent with that. Next one is create an aesthetic for Everyday Projector. My Everyday Projector website and the channel here, I do have kind of an aesthetic for it, but it's not like anything that deep. I would really like to get more into photography this year. I love taking pictures, but I'm kind of just starting down that pathway of interest and experience. So I'd like to play around with, this kind of works hand in hand with revising my style and my look. I'd really like to play around with some styles and some looks and creating like photo shoot type situations, or just like photographing my life in a different way to create a little bit more aesthetic feel for what my Everyday Projector brand looks like, for my website, for YouTube, for Substack, so that I just have a little bit more cohesion, and that when people are watching me or checking out any of my content, they can get a much better sense of who I am and what I'm all about and what I'm here to do through that. So that I feel like is like a super fun project, and I'm going to be making that part of my weekly work routine in my office to develop, and I'm going to try and find more opportunities in the week to take my camera out and play around with my looks and some style and some photography. And then one more, finally, do more girls' nights. Woo! Everyone needs more girls' nights, am I right? I have a great group of girlfriends, and there are times when I see them all the time, usually when we're working on musicals or plays or shows together, because these are all theater people. I'm a theater person. I do a lot of community theater. I work with 2 different theaters mainly, and I perform, and then I also work backstage and produce and direct. So I have a big community, theater community in the area. And I have a lot of friends who I adore, some of my best friends in the world, who I've made through theater. I love my network and my girlfriends, and I want to spend more time with them and be more intentional about creating opportunities for us to just be together. So I want to start hosting maybe monthly girls' nights at my house. It's hard to schedule things with all of these people, like we all have busy lives, but this is something that I would like to try to make happen. Maybe not every month, but a little bit more. And we're also just like, I have a couple free nights a week. Maybe like inviting a couple of friends over, just saying like, anyone want to come over and hang out tonight? Have a glass of wine, chat, catch up. Yeah, I just value my friendships. And at this stage in my life, I think community and being there for each other is so important. And I want to lean more into community and the people that I care about and creating safe spaces for each other and being there for each other when the outside world is tough. So having more girls' nights and being more intentional about that is definitely on my list for the year. And I love a theme night. Like, we're all readers. Like, we have a book club together. So we have a monthly book club meeting as well. So, like, themed nights, like, yes, please. Theme nights around food, theme nights around books, theme nights around, like, activities. There's so much you can do with a girls' night. Like, amen. Like, let's just do it. Let's just do it. I want one tomorrow. All right. So thank you for humoring me and hanging out with me tonight while we talked about how I kind of got out of my funk a little bit coming into the new year when I sat down to do my Notion intention setting and reflection practice. And after that, that really helped motivate me to start, mapping out my goals for the year. And I sat down and made a vision board, which, is such a great tool. I made a video a while back about my mind movie, and I might make a couple edits to my mind movie as well based on my goals for the year. And then, setting out some metrics and goals and actual steps that will help me support the infrastructure of the changes that I want to make toward these goals in my 12-week year planner. Yeah, so that was my process. And you know what? Like, I'm a very imperfect person, so we'll see how this all goes. But I think that I'm in a place right now, coming off of 2025, where I just know that it's time. Like, I really let myself have 2025 off for the most part. And I don't want to do that again. I just don't, I'm motivated to make these changes. I don't want to do that again. I don't want to feel this way a year from now. So if you're feeling very similar, I'm with you, and I love that for you, and I really hope that we can start putting the foundation together for all of the changes that we're going to build off of to hopefully create real change and progress toward being really, really happy and fulfilled in your future. I think we can all get there. Not everything in our society is set up to make that easy. But with the right support systems and with the belief in yourself and that self-worth, that it's worth making these changes for yourself to get where you want to be, I think that we can get there. So I'm going to enjoy the rest of this night by my fireplace. I'm going to make myself some comforting pasta for dinner. I'm going to watch the new Emily Henry movie, People We Meet on Vacation. I loved that book. I'm very excited to see if the movie's good or not. It has some great people in it, so I have high hopes. I'm going to probably try and stay off of Tumblr so that I don't just depress myself even more about Stranger Things. And please, if you like Stranger Things and you loved everything about season 5, this is not hate. I'm happy for you. I'm genuinely happy. We can't all be so lucky, I guess. But yeah, I'm gonna try and lean into the small things that are giving me joy right now, and lean into getting off my couch and actually taking more action and finding the things that will help me to reduce the friction in my life that keeps me from gaining momentum on the things that I say that I want to do. That's my biggest goal for the year. So wish me luck. And I will see you again in another video real soon. Head down below for the link to my Notion reflection and intention setting template, and the link to my Substack. I would love for you to follow me on Substack, where I write weekly posts and daily notes, and it's really fun. I'm having a great time, and I'm allowing myself to explore a lot of things about my life and the world through my writing on Substack that I feel like have just been dying to get out of me for a while. And it feels very freeing, and it feels very exciting, and it's been very rewarding emotionally to be able to sit down and write a lot of my thoughts out. You know, YouTube is a very different medium, so I don't use it the same exact way. And so I think that there is a place for both, and I'm really glad that I have expanded into the Substack world now as well, which is much more focused on my writing and my personal narrative. So I would love to have you over there. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again real soon. Bye!